No, a lot of people like DeSantis because he seemed a little bit better on COVID policy. He gave people monoclonals. He didn't lock down as hard. He wasn't crazy about masks. And so he was a little better than every other a-hole in America and every other governor, especially my a-hole governor here in California. And you remember the guy in Andrew Cuomo in New York? Everybody was like, oh, they gave him an Emmy because he was so good on COVID. He was the worst on COVID. He killed people on purpose. Old people. He killed them on purpose, and he lied about the numbers. He lied about everything. So everybody likes DeSantis because he was a little bit better. So now you get to see how horrible DeSantis is. And here he is at the, what does that stand for? RJ?
The Republican
Jewish Conference Committee headquarters.
It's the leadership conference.
Okay.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
So let's listen to what he has to say.
We also saw the rise of these chapters called Students for Justice in Palestine. And this is a group that took pains to say that they don't, quote, stand in solidarity with what Hamas did, that they are one and the same with what Hamas did. Well, you know, you may have a First Amendment right to say a lot of dumb things, but you do not have a right to give material support to terrorists. So we deactivated the Students for Justice in Palestine in the state of Florida. It's done.
How's that give material support?
So if I pay my taxes to the United States government, which is the biggest terrorist organization in the history of mankind, are you going to deactivate me? No, of course not. Because certain terrorism is okay. The terrorism that we did in Iraq and killed 1 million people is okay. The terrorism we did in Syria and we wrecked that country. We dropped Barack Obama himself dropped 26,000 bombs. The United States government funded Al-Qaeda, the people who attacked us on 9/11. The United States government funded them through the CIA. Are they going to get deactivated, the CIA? Is everybody who ever paid taxes to the United States going to get deactivated? No. There's good terrorism. That's the kind the United States does in places like Libya, in places like Ukraine, in places like Iraq, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, the Sudan, Yemen. That's good terrorism. That's the terrorism that the United States government does. But then there's bad terrorism, and that's the kind people who are being occupied in Gaza. That's the bad terrorism, and we got to defund. So he's sitting there bragging about it. He's bragging about I don't know how they do it, but somehow he deactivated.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Shut down their websites and whatnot, and everything.
Oh, really?
Because it's through the state schools, so they can deactivate them from the other side, and they have the schools go and turn off all their, because they're
so as an organization on a college campus, you can register. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I should have looked into this more, but I remember when I was in college, you could be an officially recognized organization, right? Like a Black Lives Matter or something like that. And so he's saying they deactivated him, and you're saying that he could shut down their websites and stuff?
Yeah, that's what he did.
How come all this quick action wasn't taken against all the various Antifas and what have you?
Isn't that something? Because the Antifas are another FBI psyop. Yeah, that's why.
It's really weird because I know he's against them.
Yes.
And I know he's against all the riots that happened during
That's
BLM.
all, again.
Nobody was shutting down anything.
Right, nobody
just one special
Just one
thing.
Special kind of thing they don't like.
Yeah.
And so here it is. DeSantis says Florida helped send weapons. Says Florida helped send weapons to Israel, a move that could boost him in the So he's helping send weapons to Israel to do their genocide in Gaza, which is what they're doing. They're not just killing Hamas; they're killing everybody. They're killing children, thousands of them. They're killing old women, grandpas and grandmas. They're slaughtering Palestinians under the guise of fighting Hamas. And he knows they're doing that. They're committing a genocide. What's the end game for Israel? To wipe out the Palestinians and take over that land. That's the end game. That's why they funded Hamas, so they could use Hamas as a pretext to do exactly what they're doing. So that kind of terrorism, the kind of terrorism that the United States government has done all around the world, is fantastic and A-OK, because this guy's a bloodthirsty warmonger, ex-military. He loves it.
He went to Guantanamo. He's a jail officer at Guantanamo.
Yeah, he's a Guantanamo
Did you
torturer.
hear what the people that got out of there said about him?
What?
He would come in and say, I'm here to represent you, and they'd have hundreds people that had, again, not convicted of any crime, just picked up and being tortured by us in Guantanamo. They started a hunger strike because of how awful they were being treated. He would come and go, I'm here to represent you in your complaints. So they would say all the things they're upset by. He would go and tell the superiors so they could do it more to them. That's according to the people that they had to let go who were not terrorists or criminals that were tortured in Guantanamo. They identified this.
So there's no bigger garbage person, torturer, terrorist than Ron DeSantis.
Thank you for your service, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
This drives me crazy. I mean, how could a state send weapons and they sent them drones, weapons?
I think you can't normally unless it's a really special friend.
So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said Thursday he's arranged to send drones, weapons, and ammunition to Israel as it prepares for an... So this is called the United States of Israel. Yeah. Ron DeSantis doesn't care about the United States. He doesn't care about the blowback that's going to happen because of this. He doesn't care that we start World War III over this. All he cares about is donors in the AIPAC lobby, and he cares more about Israel than he does the United States, and this is proof of it. In the latest official response, DeSantis has taken to back Israel as he competes in the 2024 Republican presidential primary. Florida has sent cargo planes with healthcare supplies. Wouldn't it be nice if he sent healthcare supplies to the people of Florida? Wouldn't that be nice if he did that? If he sent body armor and helmets, said Jeremy Redfern, a spokesman for the governor's office. The state also worked with groups to supply unspecified amounts of weapons and ammunition that were privately funded. Okay. The governor's office said it acted at the request of Israel's consul general in Miami. Mayor Elbaz Starinsky, I love that Starinsky and Hutch. Did you ever see that show? That was fantastic. Yeah. The consul general initially said Thursday he did not request drones, body armor, or helmets, nor had he talked to the governor about help getting weapons or ammunition through private parties. Elbaz Starinsky said later Thursday that others in the Israeli government had communicated with DeSantis' office to determine what would be sent to Israel. So there you go. So now you know the rest of the story, that Ron DeSantis is a crazy anti-free speech. He loves terrorism. He just hates certain terrorism. The terrorism that he says is coming from people who are occupied by a country that he cares more about than the United States. So fantastic. Look at the great choices you have for president in the Republican Party, right?
Yeah. And also, it doesn't really matter because your ultimate choices are going to be Biden and Trump again. And just feel excited about that. Imagine that's how
Trump, who also says he wants to start World War III over Israel. Trump is just as big as bloodthirsty maniac as anybody.
We got to fulfill the prophecy.
That's right.
We got to fulfill the book of Revelation, which...
So if you don't believe me, watch the other segment I did about Trump speaking at this exact same conference that DeSantis is speaking at and pandering to people who don't give a shit about the United States one bit. Come see us doing live shows. We're going to be in Levittown, Red Bank, New Jersey, Wilmington, Delaware, Covina, California, Burbank, California, Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa, Milwaukee, and Lansing, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.